Welcome back to the Soul Sprinter YouTube channel. I'm Nicole, and I'm coming to you from my yoga hammock today in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Today, Boone and I are joining you here just outside of Steamboat Springs, Colorado at the lake. And Boone cannot get enough swimming. I tell you, this is his happy place, as it is mine, which is why I feel like it's the perfect place to talk about the next portion of the van build, the cabinets. Now, this is a really exciting portion for me to talk about with you. See, my dad is a fourth generation cabinet maker. My grandfather had a cabinet shop growing up that you could say was my after school program. So today we're going to talk about the materials I used, why I put the cabinets where I did, what other special features and restructuring that needed to be done to ensure that it was off-road ready, and all sorts of other fun tips and tricks about cabinet building for your van. So stay tuned. I'm pretty shocked that Boone's sitting here on the shore with me right now because he pretty much swims nonstop, and I usually have to drag him out of the water. Usually I'm walking away and he's in the water waiting for me to come back. I mentioned I grew up around cabinetry and cabinet makers, right? Well, we didn't build cabinets for vans. So we went with a traditional cabinet style, but had to reinforce it with L brackets. And I must admit, those were required. I have a significant amount of L brackets in the van, re-securing all of the cabinetry. When you're going down a dirt road, there is never too much securing that you can do. I decided to go with Birch for my cabinetry. So all of the frames are made with a 3/4 inch birch, and then all of the doors are actually a 1/2 inch birch. After choosing the material, it was time to choose the color of the stain. Now, I've always favored dark cabinetry and was worried about making the van look and feel small with a darker stain, which is why I went with a white stain on the birch walls. I decided on the color espresso and absolutely loved it. Each piece of cabinetry was sanded, stained, a lacquer finish applied, then sanded again, and more lacquer. There were a total of 4 main cabinets: the kitchen base, the kitchen upper, the closet, and the storage upper in the rear. Now keep in mind, I built this entire floor plan from my head. So when considering where to put the cabinets and how to reinforce them and how to install them and how big to make them, it was all made up in my head. And you can see I actually built my kitchen upper. You can see my drawing. I did all my measurements. I built everything out on paper, and then I actually built the cabinet out. And it was a really neat experience to be able to see that engineering process from start to finish. I decided to go with a floor plan that excluded front access to my cab. I did that for 2 reasons. One, I did a tremendous amount of research, and the majority of people that were on their second and third builds blocked off that access. Their reasoning was security. If someone broke into your cab, they don't have access to your van. Secondarily, it opens up so much more square footage in the back of my van. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, you have the biggest, tallest van that there is, and it's just you. And there are many other people that are living sometimes 2 and even 3 bodies in a smaller van. I know. I wanted to feel like I was in a small apartment. I wanted to feel like I had space. I wanted to feel like it was home, not that it was something that I had to cram into every day and fit into and kind of be snug. That just wasn't for me in my van life adventure. I did build a 5th cabinet in the van, and that was for my power station. I later acquired a Goal Zero Yeti 3000X, which I'll talk about in another video. However, I needed somewhere to put that, and I had to fit that into my floor plan at a later time. So that was a very functional cabinet, very, very useful, and goes along with the theme of the other 4 as well. Something that I have not talked about with the van yet that is a reoccurring theme with everything in the van. Everything in the van that was built had to be installed and then removed, modified, and then reinstalled. There were things that just needed to be fixed, and we didn't consider every aspect of everything because there's a lot to consider. and there's nothing square in the van. There's nothing true or level. So it made things quite challenging, but it became a fun theme for my uncle and I that we would install something or bring it in the van and then figure out something we had to change and take it back out. And that was pretty entertaining trying to film footage for this because there was a lot of times where you see us going back in and out of the van. Well, as I'm wrapping up today telling you about the van build, I feel it's only appropriate to give you a proper Boone Lake Day montage. So here you go. Well, Boone and I thank you for joining us for yet another YouTube video. We hope to see you in the future when we talk more about the van build, more about adventures, and more about life. Thank you again. We'll see you next time.
Come here, you little... I love you so much. Also, I'm not sponsored by Kavu, but these overalls are super cute and I really love them. And I got them at the yoga festival in Telluride, so I just wanted to show them off. That's all.